This segment brought to you by Sure Crop, liquid crop nutrition delivered right to your farm.
We're back. Now we learn more about the current trade issues between China and the U.S.
We have got to help China understand this other WTO case is about their tariff rate quota administration. Okay, what we learned at K-State, and I see Art Barnaby over there. Art didn't teach me this, but other folks in this room did. A tariff rate quota is you bring in so much quantity at a lower tariff, and once you meet that quantity threshold, the tariff rises. China, when it became a member of the WTO, agreed in wheat, in corn, in cotton, in rice, that it would have these TRQs. It's never done it. It's never, in all these years, it's never actually implemented any of that stuff. And finally, now we're beginning to say, you know, China, let's just be honest in what we would call that as an American. You're cheating. And this is where the President of the United States, our president, has stepped in and said, you know what, enough. And here's another component of this that he's talked about, is there's a document called Made in China 2025. What that document in English says is that they intend to do to the Silicon Valley and in the high-tech industry what they did in solar panels. They intend to build national champions and dominate. And they have the Sovereign Wealth Fund of China. If a company loses money, they pump money into it to keep it going. By the way, in that Made in China 2025, there's an interesting entity where they also explain that they want to build a national champion and dominate. You know what that industry is? Agricultural machinery. This is where we're at in a relationship with the second largest economy in the world. In California, we had an enormous discussion about, yeah, but Greg, we're selling these guys $700 million worth of almonds. We're sending these guys cherries and strawberries, and they're perishable, and if this doesn't work, we have enormous problems. And I guess my point to them during these discussions this week was, we have a lot of problems in a lot of other industries. And my point to you in agriculture is you may not have this problem in agriculture today, but you might have it tomorrow. And I think China made a little bit of a mistake here when they did what they did against grain sorghum here the other day. And I explained to the folks back in Washington, I said, this is what I mean by that. I said, you know, there's no such thing as a grain sorghum farmer. I said, you know, my dad grows milo, but that's not all he grows. And in fact, the guys that grow milo understand this. They don't have any real big access for wheat to China because of the way they administer their TRQs. Same goes for corn. And by the way, they don't approve our biotech varieties in corn. Same goes for distiller's grain. They stopped taking that a long time ago. It took us 15 years to get any beef in there, and now we just get a trickle. They don't buy any poultry. They don't buy any rice. And I think there's probably a few others in there I could name that I'm missing at this point in the process. We sell them a lot of soybeans, but we've got a lot of work to do in our relationship across the board in agriculture with China. This is just but one of the things that we're working on. And it's critically important that we address this as an administration and as a country.
Thanks for staying with us. Come back after the break for this week's Kansas Farm Bureau update.
Hello, I'm Dr. Frank Lyons from Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center here in Manhattan, Kansas. Daryl was one of our patients that we did about 7 months ago.
I dug trees by hand for years and years and years. In the process, I wore out my rotator cuff. But when I learned about this process, I thought if there's a way to get rid of this pain, then I want to do it. So we did it, and it worked. I'm not going to go out and take trees with a shovel anymore, but I can do the things that I want to do now.
Well, it's been very gratifying to help people with their painful joints and other entities, and it's been especially gratifying to be able to help people who I know and have worked with and known for many years.